for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. You know, maps are protected by the First Amendment. So you can make a flat Earth map. You can make a map of S-hole countries as designated by Donald Trump. You can make a map that calls the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America or the Gulf of Mexico. If you don't like somebody else's map, you make your own map. That's basic John Stuart Mill. That's what we do under the First Amendment, but we've got an entire hearing organized around one map published by one group. So look, I'm someone who's an ardent defender of the freedom of speech on all sides. And I think people also should be held responsible for the speech they engage in. Legally, we can hold them responsible only if their speech incites imminent lawless action and violence. That's the Brandenburg Standard. Short of that, or engages in defamation, for example. But short of that, we hold them accountable morally and politically. So there's nothing wrong with the process of saying, I don't like your speech, I don't like your map. Of course, it would be good if we had a real hearing that was about hate speech generally in the country, or speech that endangers other people. For example, a number of the mass murderers who showed up in Buffalo or in El Paso and killed dozens of people themselves in their manifestos and their social media statements said that they were acting based on the statement that and the well-known conspiracy theory that George Soros is engaged in a plan to replace the American population, the so-called Great Replacement Theory. Does that mean we can ban that speech? No, we can't ban it, but certainly we should talk about it, and we should talk about the moral implications of people who engage in it. Same thing with people in the pro-life movement who call doctors and physicians who are OBGYNs baby killers, which has led in many cases to doctors being murdered or violently assaulted or attacks on abortion clinics. So it is true that speech does have a real world effect, even though in our society we only allow it to be punished if it's incitement to imminent lawless action or analogous to that. So, Ms. Tyler, let me ask you, I think that we don't want attacks now, violent attacks against the Southern Poverty Law Center. And I know you don't work for them, you work for the Baptist Committee, right?
That's right, I work for Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty.
But is the Southern Poverty Law Center a hate group like the Ku Klux Klan or the neo-Nazis? Do they proclaim interest in violence or nonviolence? And has anybody at the Southern Poverty Law Center ever been convicted of engaging in a conspiracy to murder or to engage in violence against anybody, including Charlie Kirk?
I know of no reports of that violence, and I know of SPLC as a civil rights organization that tries to draw awareness to white supremacy and files legal action to protect our civil rights laws.
Okay, so the way that we sort this out in an organized society under the rule of law is that if somebody actually engages in a conspiracy to murder, or aids and abets a murder, or imminently incites violence against someone, they can be prosecuted. Short of that, if they engage in speech, especially the kind of speech the SPLC is involved in, which is trying to stop hate violence in the country, then we essentially leave them alone, except for some reason we've decided to have an entire hearing about one map created by this one group. Look, if we really wanted to promote nonviolent, peaceful discourse in the country and to promote greater understanding and civil peace, which I hope everybody in this room could get behind, what would we be doing? What are you doing to try to promote civil peace and civil conversation and dialogue?
Well, one thing we do at Baptist Joint Committee, along with a number of other organizations, is try to draw awareness to our First Amendment protections for religious freedom, and to make space for all different views on religion, and to help people have some tough conversations, including in religious communities. You know, one of the projects that we work on is something called Christians Against Christian Nationalism. So we don't shy away from difficult topics that we believe do contribute to different issues.
I'm running out of time, but just tell us finally, what do you think is behind this really extraordinary attack on civil society organizations and particular groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center?
Well, I see this as an attack on civil society, as a way to try to quash dissent, as a way to chill advocacy, and that I really fear for the future of our pluralistic democracy if groups and individuals succumb to the intimidation. I think this is a moment that we all need to be leaning into our democratic society and participating like many of us have never done so before.
Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank the ranking member, Mr. Raskin. I'll now